Have you been suspended on eBay? Well, if you have, I now have the solution for you. Go to stealthstore.co. We are creating eBay stealth accounts for people, any country. Everything is done for you. The dedicated IP and phone number is all included for the first month. Go check it out. Link in description. Are you thinking of becoming an eBay dropshipper, or are you already an eBay dropshipper and you're wondering how can you dropship without getting suspended or avoid suspension as much as possible? Because it's a very common theme with eBay dropshippers to eventually get suspended. Make sure you grab a notepad because all of these tips are extremely important for you to follow or you will get suspended. The foundation of success with eBay dropshipping is a solid understanding of eBay's policies. Familiarize yourself with the policy and the community standards because these are things you need to know that are going to get you to a top rated seller, an above standard seller, a below standard seller, and obviously you don't want to be below standard at all. You want to at least be above standard, if not top rated seller. eBay are regularly updating their policies, so it's important to stay up to date and to keep checking these. But as I said, knowing the rules is the first step to ensure compliance and maintaining a healthy eBay account. So I know what I just said may be a bit contradicted because a lot of you are going to be thinking dropshipping not allowed on eBay. Well, it technically is, but it technically isn't. They allow it if it's from a wholesaler, which means you have to buy it in bulk and then send it yourself. So that's not really dropshipping. eBay have a wrong idea of what dropshipping actually is. So that's why you need to use a good supplier. You need to use a good supplier. You can still dropship, but you need to be able to have invoices and stuff like that. Now, if you've already been dropshipping and, for example, you have an MC011 suspension, you need to check my previous video, which will tell you how to create those invoices from scratch without the supplier having it if you've already made that great mistake. So now we're going to go on to the first tip, which is listing authentic products only. A lot of people are just listing products. For example, if they're using OnBuy, there's a lot of unauthentic products and you can get in a lot of trouble, whether that's Vero or that's just inauthentic products, and you get a lot of bad feedback, which in turn is eventually just going to lower your rating on eBay, which is obviously what you do not want because that then eventually will lead to a suspension. And you do not want item not described returns. If you get too many of those, that raises red flags with eBay, and that is just something you do not want because that's obviously also going to lead to a suspension. Use reputable suppliers, which I've spoken about on this channel many times. You can use Amazon if you use Amazon correctly. You have to use something like EasySync, which I've also made a video about, which will also automate your Amazon dropshipping business. Now, this is probably one of the most important tips right now. You actually need to keep an eye on your inventory, such as you need to keep an eye on the stock of your supplier. Obviously, if you're automating this, it should do that automatically. But if you're a manual dropshipper, which I know a lot of you are, then you need to keep checking stock, because if you get an order and it's not in stock and you have to cancel that for being out of stock, that is obviously, if you do that too much, you're going to get suspended once again, and you'll also get a lot of bad feedback. However, if this is you and this has happened to you, this is a little tip for you to get past that, even if your supplier does not have it in stock. What you can do is search the item on eBay and find another seller that's selling it. It may be more expensive, it may be cheaper if you're lucky, but most of the time it's going to be more expensive, which means you're either going to make a less profit or you're going to be at a loss, okay? However, it's worth being at that loss if it means you're not going to get suspended if you're thinking of longevity, okay? So make sure you do that if you're in this situation. Then after that, make sure to continue checking the stock of your items, and if it is out of stock, change your listing accordingly. So another one is going to be shipping times. It's obviously very simple, and you probably already know this, so we're only going to brush over this very quickly. But here's some things you're going to need to implement on your listing in terms of shipping times. So obviously if you're using Amazon, then you can just put 2-day delivery because that's going to happen. Whereas if you're using a different supplier, you need to keep an eye on how long it usually takes to deliver and then update that listing accordingly, because you don't want to be uploading tracking and then it gets delivered after the estimated delivery date, because then you're going to get late delivery, which can lower your seller level, which you do not want. If your seller level gets too low, then you're going to get suspended. So the next one is, as a dropshipper, you're probably going to deal with a lot of returns, a lot of cases, etc., and you're going to need to deal with those as quick as possible. In fact, it's not just dropshipping. Any big eBay business owner is going to deal with these on a daily basis, multiple on a daily basis. So you need to make sure you're on top of those, and you need to make sure you give the best customer service you possibly can when dealing with those issues. So for example, you get a not described return, you just accept that return. Obviously, if you're a business seller, you're already going to automatically accept that return. And then you're just going to get that back to your house and you're going to return that to supplier yourself. Never get the customer to reply it to the supplier directly, because that does not look good. If you have a different return address, than your home address on eBay or your business address on eBay, because they'll see, why is it being returned somewhere else when his business address is this? It just doesn't make sense. So another one, you're just going to have to avoid listing branded items. But if you are going to list branded items, you need to check if they're Vero restricted. If you get too many Vero violations, then in turn, you're going to get a Vero restriction, which you do not want, because eBay then are not going to trust you. And it's most of the time going to lead to a permanent suspension. Another one is, if you're an eBay seller or an eBay dropshipper, you probably had a periodic performance review multiple times. Now, if you get this is basically eBay saying, well, you're selling a bit too much here, we don't trust you enough. Basically, that's what they're saying. So if you get a performance-related review, maybe don't list any more items for a bit and just keep building your eBay account up in terms of feedback and just your eBay seller level. Once you've done that, then maybe start listing more, because you need to be careful with these performance reviews, because they can usually end in suspensions once again. Another one is regularly check your messages, regularly respond to customers, okay? But obviously, a lot of you I know are on eBay stealth accounts, because that's what this channel is mainly about. If you're on a stealth account, obviously you're not going to have the eBay app downloaded, because chances are your previous account had the eBay app and you got suspended, okay? So what you'll do, you'll get emails, okay? So make sure you have the email of the stealth account on your phone, then you can reply to messages that way, okay? Ignoring messages, eBay do see this. It can also obviously give you bad feedback. If you're not responding to a customer, you'll get bad feedback, which obviously you do not want, as we've already spoken about. So those were some key strategies to help you avoid suspensions on eBay. Remember, a proactive response and staying informed are your best allies in terms of eBay dropshipping. So if you found this video insightful and valuable, please make sure you hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button. That's what this channel is all about, eBay dropshipping, and we also do some side hustle challenges as well. So if that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.